Welcome to How to Make Strawberry Jam. I'm Holly.
I'm Grant.
And today we're going to show you how to make jam or preserves and talk about the differences and how we do it. It is strawberry season here where we live, and we went to the farmer's market yesterday and we got a full flat of strawberries. We've already been working on them. We have about 16 cups right now. And Grant is going to go ahead and start cutting some of our strawberries for us to finish it off while I talk about the process. We've washed our jars, and these 16 cups are going to make about 15 or 16 jars of strawberries. But we have several different sizes that we're going to use today because we love to give them as gifts throughout the year, especially at the holidays. This would be a quart size, and this would be a lot of jam. We like to make the pints because they're nice to give away and they're easy because once you open them, you're going to want to eat them within a week or two. So as Grant cuts the strawberries, he's just cutting them up and we're going to cook them down so they don't have to be in any certain way that you cut them. And generally my grandmother, how they would can was they would use Sure Gel or some type of a pectin to make the jam gel. We're going to use what's called Pomona's pectin because it allows you to use less sugar, maybe honey or a juice instead of all the sugar. Generally in those recipes, it's 1 cup of sugar per 1 cup of berries. And to me, that's a lot of sugar, especially when the boys like to eat up a lot of jam. Do you eat a lot of jam? Mm-hmm. So this allows us to use a lower sugar in our jam. So usually I kind of cut that in half. It still gives us a nice sweet preserve, but it's not so much sugar. The difference is Pomona's pectin uses calcium as a binder instead of the sugar. So it allows you to use less. So as Grant cuts those up, we are going to put them in our pan and cook them down. But I just want to give you a little idea of things you can do at home with the strawberries. You know, it's a great tool for education. You can measure, you can cut, learning to use tools. Weight, how much does a pint of strawberries weigh? How much does 1 strawberry weigh? Washing, learning all the life skills in the kitchen. It's just an all-encompassing lesson doing the strawberry preserves. So Grant is going to go ahead and take our strawberries and put them in our pan, and we're going to get started. Step 1 would be to sterilize your jars. So I just have a big stock pot and I've put some jars in here, and you want to bring your water to a boil just to make sure, even though they're clean, we want to make sure that they're sterilized. I put the jars and the lids in there as well. And then you're going to take them out just a few minutes before you're ready to pour up your preserves. Grant's going to take our container of strawberries and he's going to put them in a stock pot. And we're going to turn the oven on and get those to cooking. And then I'll show you how we're going to add part of our Pomona's pectin.
I'm going to squeeze the juice of these 2 lemons to put in our strawberries. The lemon juice helps keep the color of the strawberries. We also have our calcium water to put in. We have 16 cups of strawberries, and we're going to add 8 cups of sugar.
Next, we're going to add the pectin to our sugar. So Grant has us, we actually made it about 7 cups of sugar. So Grant is going to go ahead and add our pectin into our sugar. So the Pomona's pectin that we're using is a 2-step process. You saw Grant earlier adding the calcium water to the strawberries, the liquid, and now we're adding the powdered pectin to the sugar mixture. And it's really important that you mix the sugar and the pectin together before you add it to the strawberries, because I've made that mistake before and ended up with kind of a yucky mess. So he's going to go ahead and add that. We're going to stir the sugar And when the strawberries are boiling, we'll go ahead and add our sugar and finish up our strawberry preserves.
This is an immersion blender. We're going to use it to puree our strawberries.
We used an immersion blender in our strawberries because we wanted to puree it and have a really nice smooth texture in our preserves. But depending on what you would like, you can use a masher and just mash it up if you want chunks of strawberries in there. So it's really up to you on the texture that you would like. But we used our immersion blender. You saw Grant do that, and we went around. We did leave some chunks in there just to get a little bit of the flavor of the strawberries. And other than that, we're gonna wait for that to boil, and then we'll pour up our jars. Now we're ready to pour up our jars. So Grant is going to be our jar pour upper. We've sterilized our jars and they're warm. You want them to be warm to the touch because you're going to have hot liquid going into a warm jar. We're going to use a funnel, which I would say is a definite must. I don't believe that you need the whole canner and all of those different things. You can make do with pots you have in your kitchen, but a funnel is a must because we want all of the stuff to go inside the jar. We want to keep the jar as clean as possible. So Grant, you're going to dip that up for us. And you can fill your jar to about a 1/4 inch headspace. All right, so let's check and see. We can do a little bit more. Let's do a little bit more on our jar. So for our camera, if you want to come in so you can see, we're going to leave just about a 1/4 inch headspace there. Okay. Now, what's super important before you put your lid on is you want to take a little piece of paper towel and go around and clean the rim. You want to make sure there are no little bits of the preserves on the rim because we don't want any place that bacteria can grow. So we're going to take our caps and our rings, and we're going to go ahead and fill the rest of these jars, and then the next step will be to put them in a hot water bath for about 10 minutes. So Curtis, if you want to come in and show them what our jam looks like as we're filling our jars. And Grant, we're going to have you do another one here. You want to go ahead and fill that up? Mm-hmm. We're using just a regular soup ladle, which about 2 scoops of the soup ladle is pretty good for these pint jars. Okay, let's check. Pretty good. Okay, so that's about what we have. I'm going to clean the rim again. Put our caps and our band. So we're going to go ahead and do this for about the next 10 or 11 jars, and then we'll come back. This is what's called the water bath. You want to put your jars in. We'll have to do them in 2 separate batches. And you're going to bring it to a boil, and you're going to boil them according to your package directions, usually between 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the size of your jars. So we're going to do our water bath, and then our strawberry jam will be done. Grant and I have finished making our strawberry preserves, and we ended up with how many?
19.
19 jars, and we're so excited because they're going to last us all year. And we have some cute ones that we can give as gifts to our family because I think Papa likes the preserves, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I wanted to tell you one more thing I thought was important was the jar grabber. When you're doing the hot water bath, this is real important to have because it fits over the jar so you can take it in and out of the boiling water. Tongs just don't cut it. So the 2 most important things I think that you need in canning, besides your jars, are the jar lifter and the funnel. And I wanted to show you the consistency of our strawberry jam. And it's a nice spreadable consistency that's gelled up real nice. This is what we had left over. And Grant's gonna give it a whirl and tell us what he thinks.
It's good.
Is it good? Is it sandwich worthy? Mm-hmm. What do you like putting jam on most?
Bread, bagels, and anything.
Anything. Okay, let me give it a taste. That's pretty good. We are going to enjoy this year, and I encourage you to get in the kitchen with your kids and make some strawberry preserves. We'll see you next time.